I'm going to show you 10 exciting new clones. But before I do, you know that I'm George, the nice smelly gentleman, and it's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content. Middle Eastern clone brands are releasing more and more new clones at an incredible speed, and it's really hard to actually keep up with all the new stuff that is coming out, but I'm doing my best, and today I'm going to show 10 of the recent releases from the heavy hitters in the Middle East. And I'm going to start with the brand of Paris Corner. I've included two fragrances from Paris Corner in today's video. The first one is called Prodigy. I briefly talked about this one in a video last week, I think. This is a very nice fragrance. It comes in a very heavy bottle that has a pressurized sprayer, and the scent itself is a clone of none other than Alexandria II from Rzeszów, one of the most famous and well liked and beloved niche fragrances out there. And actually Paris Corner have done a surprisingly good job with the scent of Prodigy, getting quite close to Alexandria II. Now it's not a one-to-one clone. This feels of course a lot weaker compared to the beast that is Alexandria II. This also feels sweeter. It's more like an unisex, maybe even leaning a little bit to the feminine side to take on Alexandria II, but still nonetheless actually smells very nice, surprisingly good, with good quality and a very decent performance. Basically think of Alexandria II if you are familiar with the original scent, but with added more sweetness, more fruity sweetness, more ambery sweetness. The woodiness is dialed back a little bit, and basically this is in my opinion more wearable than the original fragrance, which of course you know, that sweetness can be a good thing for a lot of people out there. The second Paris Corner fragrance that I've included in today's video is called Zodiac Stratos, and this one is a clone of YSL Y Elixir, and again, just like Prodigy, it's actually done surprisingly good. It takes the original scent and copies it pretty nicely. If you're not familiar with Y Elixir, but you are familiar with Y and Y EDP, basically this is a slightly more woody, slightly darker, less fruity take on the original scent of Y and Y EDP. This is a little bit more masculine, this is a little bit dressed up compared to the other two scents, but you know, it still remains a very wearable blue fragrance. It's very aromatic, there's some greenness in here, you'll get a bit of fruity sweetness and also a bit of woodiness on the dry down. Now the original one supposedly has an agar oud note or an oud note, and Stratos is also, Zodiac Stratos also supposedly has an oud note. I can't say that I detect an oud note, but definitely this feels a bit woody. And again, a little bit darker, a little bit more elegant, a little bit more dressed up, but smells very nice. It's a very wearable, very easy to wear, very likable blue scent that is super versatile and easy to wear. Next, let's go with a couple of fragrances from the brand of Lattafa. The first one is called Mashrabia, I'm not too sure exactly how to pronounce the name of this one. This is a clone of Smoking Hot from Kilian, and it's one of the recent releases from Lattafa, and this actually smells pretty nice and pretty similar to the original fragrance. You know, as long as you don't mind something that's quite smoky in the opening. Maybe Lattafa have overdone the smokiness of this one in the opening, but other than that, it smells quite nice. The opening is spicy, it's smoky, it's sweet, it's fruity. There's an apple shisha note in this one, which smells very interesting and definitely, you know, smells quite unique. Getting close to the original fragrance with a lot of sweetness, some spiciness, there's some cinnamon and all that, and then on the dry down this becomes woody and sweet, and it's a unisex fragrance in my opinion that leans a little bit to the masculine side. I like more the dry down compared to the opening. Again, I think Lattafa have just overdone a little bit of the smokiness in the opening, but other than that, this actually smells quite nice as long as you don't mind that slightly harsh opening. Quality is pretty nice, and the performance is also quite good with this one. It's not a beast, but definitely lasts for a very long time. It's a good, interesting offering from the brand of Lattafa. The next one from Lattafa that I've included in today's video is part of the Assad line, and it's called Assad Bourbon, the latest release in the Assad line. And this is not exactly a clone per se of anything in particular, but definitely will remind you of a lot of things. On one hand, you have scents like Azaro's The Most Wanted, that this I personally find to smell quite similar to. On the other hand, there's quite a bit of sweetness with this one that gets it close to something like Scandal Absolute from Jean Paul Gaultier. but at the same time this is very aromatic, has a bit of spiciness, and it has quite a bit of sweetness, and it's again one of those very easy to wear, very versatile fragrances, masculine fragrances that won't break the bank. It's very safe scent profile, very easy to wear, and I think it's a very solid release from Lattafa. Offers very decent quality and also offers quite good performance. So if you're looking for something sweet and aromatic to daily drive throughout the year, I think Assad Bourbon is definitely worthy of being checked out. Next, let's go with the brand of a fragrance world with a few of their scents, a total of 4 scents. The first one is sold on the French Avenue and it's called Eclair Affair, and this is sort of a clone with a twist of Bianco Latte. And the twist that I find in this one is a coconut twist. Basically, this is a very sweet fragrance that will remind you a lot of the original scent, but with added a coconut note. Now, in my opinion, this smells very feminine, to be honest, although I think when I did my first impressions of this one, some people commented that they find it, you know, guys, that they wear this one, and I have nothing against that. You know, if you can tolerate the sweetness and this lactonic vibe that I pick up in this fragrance, I mean, all power to you. But to my nose, this definitely smells feminine, but at the same time smells quite nice. But you really need to like sweet fragrances. You really need to like fragrances with a lactonic vibe, with a coconut note. Other than that, this is you know, a very sort of a feminine and sweet fragrance. Quality is very decent, the performance also seems to be quite nice, at least from what I've tested, and it's an interesting offering from the brand of French Avenue. Comes nicely packaged, but it's a little bit more expensive. The next one comes from the brand of Atour Al Alam, which is again a sub-brand of Fragrance World, and it's called Dastor Lil Rijal, I think is the full name of this fragrance, and this is a very interesting scent that smells a lot like Rasasi Hawas and Rasasi Hawas Ice. So you can think of this one also smelling quite a lot like Paco Rabanne's Invictus and Invictus Aqua. Now, maybe you should ask the question, you will ask the question, do we need a clone of Rasasi Hawas? But that's what this is. This smells a lot like Rasasi Hawas. To my nose, this smells closer to the OG Hawas. Some people find it closer to Hawas Ice, but it doesn't matter because those two original scents from Rasasi also smell very close to each other. So you basically, you know what I'm talking about. A sweet bubblegummy fragrance with a bit of an aquaticness into it. It's a very easy to wear, very playful scent that smells quite sweet. It works great in warm weather. Excuse me. Has a bit of muskiness in it as well, and it has nice quality and very decent performance. But again, I have to ask the question: do we really need a clone of Rasasi House? Because this, in my experience, is slightly less of a performer compared to Rasasi House, although feeling like having pretty much the same quality, but also costing pretty much the same as a bottle of Rasasi House goes on at least my markets around here. So I don't know if you really actually need a clone of Rasasi House, but this is what it is at the end of the day, and it's an interesting release from Atour Al Alam. The next one from French Avenue that I've included in today's video is called Pinus Orin. This one is a clone of Louis Vuitton's Afternoon Swim, and it's actually done very nicely. It has very good quality, and it's a very easy to wear you know, masculine fragrance, maybe unisex. Some people will find it leaning to the masculine side. It's citrusy, it has a lot of ginger freshness in it, some muskiness and woodiness on the dry down, some sweetness. Again, another fragrance that works great in warm weather. In my opinion, has a bit of a mature factor, but offers really nice quality and very good performance for what it is as a scent. Now, it's a little bit more expensive. Again, it comes from French Avenue, which is a higher priced sub-brand of Fragrance World, but I think you get good quality in return. And if you like Afternoon Swim, and if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, you know, Pinus Orin actually is done quite nicely. The next one, the last one from Fragrance World that I've included in today's video, is called Cocoa Morado, and this is a fragrance that smells like Maison Crivelli's Oud Cadenza. And it's a very interesting fragrance. Now, if you look at the note breakdown of this one, and if you look at the note breakdown of the original and the note breakdown of Cocoa Morado, you may end up thinking that this is a very gourmand, very sweet fragrance because it has a lot of sweet notes. It has dates, it has vanilla, amber. But the reality is that this is actually not a very sweet fragrance. In fact, this is very spicy, it's very leathery. It's a hint floral, and it's also very woody. There's an agar oud note in this one. And you have to make sure that this one is not safe for blind buying, in my personal opinion. Definitely try to sample this one before you buy it, because this again it comes from French Avenue and it's a little bit more expensive. Don't be fooled by the note breakdown of this one, and don't be fooled by the glowing reviews. I'm not saying that this is a bad fragrance, but this is definitely for more seasoned noses out there. This is definitely has to be checked out, tried out before you actually buy it, because you may end up being disappointed by the scent. I personally like it. It's not a love for me, it's more a like. I definitely find it a bit challenging, and it's a very interesting and unique scent profile, but again, just try to test this one before you buy it. Other than that, quality is good, performance is very good, projects nicely, but again, it's a little bit more expensive because it comes from French Avenue. The next one that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Armaf, one of their recent releases, and it's called Lionheart for men, because there's a feminine version as well, and this is a clone of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male Elixir, and it's one of the best clones of Le Male Elixir that you can get. I'm still testing this one out before I do my full review, and I eventually do a fragrance battle of all clones of Le Male Elixir that I have in my collection. I'm trying to get my hands on one more clone before I actually do a fragrance battle, but definitely Lionheart is one of the better ones, one of the best ones. It will get you smelling very close to Le Male Elixir. It has the aromatic nature of Le Male Elixir. It has the sweetness. It has the strong tobacco note, the spiciness of Le Male Elixir. And this is a very, very good, very solid release from Armaf. Quality is very good. Performance is great. Projection is nice. It's a little bit more expensive, at least around here, but still costs around about half the price of the original fragrance. And one thing that I don't like is the fact that Armaf are scaling back to 100 milliliter bottle sizes instead of the usual 105 milliliters. But again, this is a very, very solid release from the brand of Armaf. And the last fragrance that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Ahmed Maghribi, and it's called Brûlé. And this one smells a lot like Parfum de Marly's Altair, but this is not a straight up clone of Altair. This has a bit of a twist. Now the opening is very similar to Altair, because when you spray this one, you'll get a lot of cinnamon, you'll get a lot of the vanillic sweetness, you get some of the florals that you get out of Altair, but this one has a few additional notes. There's a caramel note which changes a little bit the sweetness in the opening of this one, and also there's a hint of a coconut note. So the opening is very similar to Altair, while at the same time having a bit of its own character. On the dry down, in the mid phase, this is very similar to Altair again, but has slightly stronger cinnamon note, and the dry down is a little bit different because this doesn't feel so heavy on the ambroxan. This feels a little bit sweeter. That caramel note is still there, but it's a very, very interesting fragrance from Ahmed Maghribi, one of their later releases. It has a pressurized sprayer. It's supposedly an extrait de parfum concentrated fragrance, offers very nice quality and very decent performance, and it's a great, interesting alternative for Parfum de Marly's Altair. So guys, in today's video I showed you 10 interesting new clone fragrances from the Middle East. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.